Welcome back to North Dakota Today at 9:16. Being romantic is easy when you're starting out in a relationship and you're all in love, and the romance continues for the first couple of years of marriage.
But then what happens? Well, life, kids, a job, paying the bills, romance seems to just kind of turn into vapor. So the question is, how do you get the romance back? How do you rekindle that flame that made you fall in love with your partner in the first place?
Rachel Chumley is a certified marriage coach and co-founder of Big Blue Couch Coaching. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thanks for having me back.
Now, this is a question that I think all married couples have, especially, you know, you add kids to the marriage too, and all those things, and you're so busy.
Right.
And
right.
So is there an easy answer to this?
There is an easy answer, and at the same time, it's also a complicated answer sometimes because research shows that the more time you spend together as a couple, especially alone as a couple, the healthier that your marriage will be. Well, what happens, you get about 18 months to 3 years into your marriage and your brain stops making that chemical that makes you feel all in love and you want to spend every waking moment with your spouse. And so you have to kind of fight against chemistry. At the same time, like you were saying, your to-do list is all of a sudden multiplied. You add a few kids, you get a house. And
but this is fairly typical.
It is very typical,
It's nothing
yes.
out of the ordinary to kind of
Nope.
wonder, well, what happened?
Right,
What happened to
exactly.
that?
It is very, very normal. And some couples think that once they get to that point, oh no, something has gone wrong
Yes.
and we shouldn't have got married or whatever. And all you really need to do is just readjust where your priorities are and make sure that your spouse is still on that to-do list and they haven't gone way down to the bottom.
But will that feeling come back?
The feeling itself doesn't come back, like the biological feeling doesn't come back to your brain, but what happens, it starts to get to be a little bit deeper, like you guys were talking about with friendship. You know, friendship starts out at one level, and then as the years go by, it gets deeper and deeper, and that's the exact same thing that happens in a marriage, is the friendship itself and the connection between the two of you will grow deeper and deeper.
I've heard therapists and marriage counselors, and one in particular, talk about the fact that the marriages that last the longest, the relationships that last the longest, start out as friendships.
Right, absolutely.
And if you're lucky enough, you marry a sexy friend.
Right.
That's basically it.
Very true.
Yeah, you marry a sexy
Right.
friend, and because it starts out as a friendship.
Right, and it's really important. It is important to have that kind of chemistry with your spouse. You do want to be with somebody who is physically appealing to you because it does make it easier as the years go by. Because what you want to happen is once you get past the child rearing stage, once you get past the point that it's no longer about everybody else and now it's just the two of you, you want to be able to know each other. You don't want to look at each other and go, who's this stranger I've been living with for the last 20 years?
It's so much easier if you like each other.
Right, exactly. You need to like each other to be married to each other. I think that's probably a really good rule to have.
Well, when we were talking in the first segment about friends and going out as a couple, I remember distinctly having that experience. You know, I was out with my wife and we were with another couple and they were just really engaged in a really funny discussion, and I just looked at her and I thought, that's the woman I fell in love with.
Right.
You know?
Right. Which is, you need those points in your marriage to, you know, remind each other of why you guys fell in love and why you're married and why you're willing to make the commitment to each other, because those are what helps when those hard times come, because everybody experiences those seasons in their marriage where it's more difficult. So you need those checkpoints along the way to remind each other of why you're still married and why you love each other.
But it really takes a conscious effort
It
to
absolutely does. It is so easy when you're first dating. It's easy when you're first married. But after that, it gets really difficult. And so you have to make it a priority. And I know some people laugh at the thought of date night, but it really does have to become a priority in your marriage.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk more about date night, so don't go away. Putting the spark back in your marriage when we come back.